What's up, world? This is your girl P. So, how to understand bleeding in a relationship? Now, as a disclaimer, I am not here to project my thoughts and/or opinions on you. I am just sharing my vantage point. And when I talk about bleeding, that is spilling over because of hurt, pain, and trauma. And bleeding in a relationship is taking past hurt, past pain, past trauma, past problems, and carrying it over into a new relationship, therefore bleeding it onto the next person. You may not know that you're bleeding over, and what bleeding over means is you may get triggered because we all experience triggers. Emotional triggers are things that can cause a reaction from a last past experience that a new person may do and not be intentionally doing it to trigger you, but something that they do triggers you, and it'll remind you of what you experienced before, and then you'll take it out on that person. And so that's what a trigger is, but the reaction is bleeding. And so it's like that person touched a scar that another person gave you that hasn't healed. And so since it hasn't healed, that person, the new person, did something that was the same or maybe similar to what caused the actual scar. And because it hasn't healed, they touched it or bruised it, and now it reopened the pain or the scar, and now it's bleeding, and now that person is going to get the browbeating from a scar or pain that they didn't cause, and that will cause that old wound to bleed over onto the new person. And so that person will have to perhaps pay the price for your past scars. And this is why healing must be done before you get into a new relationship. Because if you don't heal before you get into a new relationship, you will bleed on the next person. You will take out your pain on the next person, and that person didn't even do it. And therefore you will ruin a new relationship because of something someone else did. And this could be things that may not be from a relationship. It could be from, when you were young, that you didn't heal from and then you didn't get over. It's not really so much as getting over, it's healing from it. It's like accepting it, because a lot of things that we've experienced, we had to go through it in order to cause us to grow, because we all have different paths and lessons that we learn in our life that makes us evolve. Whereas we can, like for me, a teacher, if I didn't experience a lot of things that I experienced, I wouldn't even be able to give you tips on it. I would have to give you tips on something else that I might have experienced. But even though when I tell you about things that I've experienced on my path, I experienced it, and a lot of them were traumatic, but I healed from it. So I'm not going to take it out on the next person and punish that person and make that person pay the price the last person should have paid. And not really should have paid, like I should beat them up or anything, but it should have been handled in that relationship. And if it couldn't get handled in that relationship, and that relationship got separated, of course, because you're no longer in it, then you have to heal from it, because it's like you can't change something that already happened, but you want to heal from it because you can't go. It's like being a football player. If you get injured, if you got your knee injured in a football game, you have to heal that knee injury before you get back out on the field. Because if you get back out on the field before the knee is injured, you'll re-injure it and make it worse, and you probably won't be able to ever play again. But if you heal it before you go back in, and you may get hit in that same knee, then it won't affect you as much as it would if you were still injured. You understand what I'm saying? And so basically that's what bleeding into a new relationship is. It's like you can't take garbage and which is trauma and all of that. You can't carry garbage into a new home. Why would you take trash into a new home? Anything that causes trauma, brings you pain, brings you sadness, brings you sorrow, brings you unwarranted emotions that don't make you feel good is garbage. You know what I'm saying? You can't you wouldn't want to take that into a new home because it's going to stink it up. And so basically taking old pain and old wounds and old feelings and emotions into a new relationship is going to stink up the new relationship because that person has to heal you. And so therefore you wouldn't really have a relationship. That person will be trying to heal you from the last person and try to talk you out of it, and and say, well, it should, that's a person that's trauma bonding, and opposed to a relationship. A relationship should be two people that join together in a ship, relating to one another, growing together to get to a destiny together, because you're on the same path. It's like a pilot and a co-pilot. You can't get somewhere if the co-pilot and the pilot are arguing and talking about something that's behind both of them, when you're supposed to be looking in front of you to the future. And so that's my interpretation of bleeding into a relationship. I'm not projecting, and I'm just sharing my vantage point, because I know a lot of relationships get ruined because they go into a relationship unhealed. They go and I don't know why people rush. I heal fast, but that's because I have Gemini energy. You know what I'm saying? It's like you have to look up the planet Mercury. I know a lot of people, like I say, I share astrology information because I want to let people know about how energy works. But when you understand energy, you'll understand how people think, how people feel, how people, interact in situations. And I have Mercury energy, and it's a fast healing energy. So it's like I don't have to go to a therapist. I understand everything that I went through, and it's not like I'm mad at the people that I experienced things with. It happened, I can't help it, but I'm not going to take it out on the next person. I never take out things on people, but that's just me. You know what I'm saying? But in order for you to not ruin another relationship, you have to heal before you get in it, so that you won't take all that pain, and that person, the new person, be your nurse. The new person be your doctor. They got to doctor you up from what the last person beat you up and all of that stuff. Instead of you loving each other and all of that, you are talking about what the last person did, how they did you, and this, and that. It's like that's bleeding into the new relationship. You're supposed to be relating to one another, not healing one another. And, I just wanted to share that because I think that's, very informative, and a lot of people may not understand it. And if you don't understand it, I'm glad that I'm here to share that information with you. And once again, I'm not here to project, I'm just sharing my vantage point. But that's all I got for you. And I holla though. One love. Peace.